Welcome, Flyers fans. You're listening to Chris Mayer, Flyers Fan Mania 93 on YouTube.
All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today I'm back with another podcast kind of episode. I haven't done one of these in a long time, but I have former Flyer, NHL player ZAC RINALDO. ZAC, if you remember, Flyers fans, played a handful of years with the Flyers. Made his NHL debut with the Flyers in 2011-12, and played for a handful of years. Bounced around a couple other teams as well. Still an active player in the league right now. But Zach, seriously, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. As everybody kind of saw, Zach kind of said yes over Twitter, so that was something really cool as well. Zach, thanks for doing this.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
So kind of starting off, I guess before we get into your time with the Flyers, let's kind of go, years before that. You were drafted in 2008 with the Flyers, 6th round pick, 178th overall. You after that, you kind of, bounced around a couple teams in the OHL. And then, as I said, made your NHL debut in 2011-12 with the Flyers, played a couple games that year, with the Adirondack Phantoms, who are now Lehigh Valley. But you also played in the AHL before that. How was that kind of transition from junior to the AHL and the NHL, that transition from junior to pro for you?
It was easier. The AHL at the time was, they used to call it the jungle. Mm-hmm. And like myself, I was a lion in the jungle, and right. Everyone test that lion. Mm-hmm. I wasn't the only lion, don't get me wrong. There's lots of other people and players like myself, but I want to say like I was one of the lions in that jungle, and everyone to test that lion. And I fought. I think I had almost 30 fights. Not that I was there to always fight. It's just that's what it was. That league at the time. That's what it was. If you made a big hit, right. Or if you're be tough, you got tested every single night. And I was 21 at the time. I had no fear, and I still don't have any fear regardless of my age. So I was ready for whatever was thrown at my way. Mm-hmm. But then making that transition to the NHL, I think there's more of a respect factor into the NHL. Mm-hmm. So coming from the AHL, having to really survive in that jungle up into more of a upper echelon respected league. Right. It was an easier transition than most people would think.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that too, because I think a lot of guys would maybe say more of it like it's harder for them, with their offensive game, defensive game, whatever. But obviously, like you said, like for you, it was kind of easier. And as you said, you had over 30 fights that year, 10-11 with Adirondack. You had 331 penalty minutes. So, that's.
I didn't choose to, I wasn't like, I want to fight,
Right.
Like I went out and I played my game, and I caused shit, and I hit hard, and I got under people's skin, and I tried to produce offensively as I could. And,
you played your game.
Yeah, the result of that, people didn't like me, and they wanted to fight. Yeah, I'm not one to back down. So the penalty minutes come hand in hand with that. Right,
exactly. Did that kind of swagger that you had throughout the AHL, did that kind of help you just kind of blossom right into the Flyers that next season?
I wouldn't even call it swagger. That was just, the hockey for me ever since I was 8 years old. You can fight and you can hit, and that's a part of the game, along with scoring, playmaking, and defensive zone play and offensive zone play. It's just, I think a lot of people saw my fighting and my physical play, my aggressiveness come out and shine more than my other stuff would. I didn't carry myself with that kind of swagger that I was not big, but that some tough guy who could fight everyone. So I've always had confidence in myself that I'm not backing down from anyone. Lose, fight, win, lose, it doesn't matter. So don't get me wrong, I had confidence in my, holding my own against anybody, but going through those tough times through the AHL, the ups and downs, we didn't have a good team. We were actually terrible. And I got in my that training camp, when they sent me down to the A, I was 30 pounds overweight.
Mm-hmm.
I came into that training camp for the Flyers thinking that, everyone's going to test me and I'm going to fight these grown men and play against grown men that are like 20 times, the more than I weigh. So I put on 30 pounds and I went to camp and everyone was looking at me like, buddy, what the fuck happened to you? You're huge.
Yeah.
So the main objective was me being in the A was to lose 30 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
ZAC, go down to the minors, lose 30 pounds. When you lose your 30 pounds, we'll call you up.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked out with the trainer before practice, then I would practice, and then I worked out after practice every single day until that 30 pounds was gone. And once that 30 pounds was gone, that took me probably all season long to get that 30 pounds off.
Yeah. I mean, that year, that was 10, 11, 60 games played.
Yeah, it took me all season to get it off. But then I shed that weight and I played. So I'm playing and I'm shedding that weight at the same time. That's heavy duty. That's hard.
Right.
And but as soon as I did it, I was a black ace, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, as I said, 66 games that year with the Flyers, and you played 5 playoff games. That kind of transition, getting into playoff hockey, how was that to, kind of going from that whole thing of the AHL, a lengthy season in the NHL, and then playing some playoff games there with the Flyers that year?
Playoff hockey is nothing like it, especially when you're in a town like Philadelphia that takes so much pride in the playoffs. The energy and the vibes that you feel just walking around the town, walking around in the stadium, that's electrifying. Right. And for me, I love to live in that
environment.
Yes, I love to live in that environment, especially when people are on my side.
Right.
I'm a playoff player. I mean, I went to the finals with London in the OHL, went to the finals with Barrie in the OHL. I know that's a huge difference, OHL and NHL, but it's just that electrifying feeling that I thrive in, and I made the most every time I played in a playoff game. I thought I made my mark and I made a difference. So I wasn't intimidating. It wasn't a shock to me. I'm just built for playoffs physically and mentally.
Yeah, definitely. And, kind of breaking into that season too, you go in, you have Peter Laviolette was head coach with the Flyers that year, the Winter Classic, and then obviously the playoffs, like I just mentioned with Pittsburgh, the crazy series there.
Right.
And, obviously that's like your kind of first year. And how was that year for you to kind of break into the league? And, you had some big moments, kind of just being a Flyer, a lot of hits, that it's funny. And I said this to you when we were before, when I was watching those highlights, and that fight against BJ Crombie against Tampa Bay, like that's like stuff like that. Like, I'm not sure, you probably might not remember it, but stuff like that, like, it's just like great stuff to see. And when you're in that kind of situation, you're kind of taking it through the whole year, like, how was that for you, and how did your relationship with a lot of the guys kind of start too?
That year for me, it was a dream come true. I grew up a Flyer fan since I was 8 years old. Loved Eric Lindros. So that full year really came full circle for me, human and as a player at the same time. But my exit meeting with Paul Holmgren, I'll never forget it, because no one ever really kind of talked to me the way Paul did. So he said, yeah, you had a good year, but you can always get better. And as a kid, he's 21 years old, 22, playing the NHL. I'm like, well, you can't get better. Like, how else would you get better? There's nothing better than this. That, good year, but you can always get better. And that, just him saying that has always stuck with me, and it still sticks with me till today. And he lit that fire underneath my ass to always become better as a player, as a person. So I had a great year. I had lots of fun. I hit everything I saw, fought everyone that came my way. I tried to produce offensively. I met a lot of people through the city. I connected with everyone on a personal level in the organization, teammates, fans, made great relationships just in that 1 year because I made such a big impact as a showing that, my heart, belonged to the team and belonged to the city. And that year I won the Gene Hart Memorial Trophy, voted from the fans. And when I got that, that really kind of put into perspective that what I'm doing on the ice is going and not from my team and not from the organization, but the fans, 20,000 people, and then some. That to me, and I love to lead with my heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve so that when people recognize that, then I'm doing something right. So that year was wild, man. It was a dream come true. And like I said, that one thing that Paul Holmgren told me that I could always get better. You can always get better. Motivated me to get better.
Yeah. And that's awesome because when you're able to kind of do that, and a guy like yourself that obviously the next couple of years you saw some time in the AHL still. So did that kind of
just because the lock?
Right.
Just because the lockout, but as soon as the lockout was done, I was right back up and I didn't see the minors until I got traded to Boston. That was a whole different situation.
Right. But yeah, and again, that first year for you, that was able to kind of solidify your spot as a regular for the team. Those couple years there, 2012-13 to 14-15 with the Flyers. You guys, obviously the Flyers weren't necessarily in the spot to kind of contend or anything like that, kind of going through a different transition with, Ron Hextall as GM and things like that. How over that time were you able to kind of develop your relationship with Mr. Snyder? I know you've been very vocal on Twitter about just him being in the room, congratulating the guys after a win and things like that. How much did being a Flyer mean to you, and obviously everything about Mr. Snyder as well?
I don't think words can describe how much it meant to be a Flyer to me. I honestly don't. I can't even fucking describe it to you how much it meant, how much it still means to me for me to leave that legacy behind in Philadelphia. I wish I had words for you to put in perspective to how it make me feel. It's like just love. That's just, or like it's just straight up love. But Schneider, after every win, he was in the room shaking everyone's hand. And when you shook your hand, it wasn't just like, shake your hand, move on to the next. He actually would like shoot the shit with you on a personal level about the game, about life. And he'd bring his buddies in and their kids would come in. And it was, you connected with him on such a personal level. It wasn't even, that was amazing too. But I never witnessed anything like that. And just the stuff that he would organize and make sure that the players on the team had at the rink, he made it a priority to make sure that not only were us as a player taken care of, but our families were taken care of while we were at the games or while they were watching, making that the wives and the girlfriends and the kids and if you had buddies that were visiting from out of town, if your parents were coming in from out of town, he always introduced himself. And even if he wasn't there, he always made sure that people were there, taking care of your family and you as a person. And to me, I'm a person first and a hockey player second. So when you take care of me and my family and my people on a personal level before you take care of me as a hockey player, I'll kill for you. So he meant a lot for me. And it's not, you don't really realize it until it's not there. And when I left Philly, no other owner came in the room to congratulate us. No one, I don't want to say no one, but, not a lot of people took the priority that he took with his players and made them feel at home in their arena. and got to know them on a personal level. So you don't really realize what you have until it's gone. And for me, when I got traded, that's how I realized what I had. And then, obviously with him passing away, I think the whole city of Philadelphia realized what they had when he was there. Clearly everyone sees it now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I was just about to ask about that. Obviously it's been different since Mr. Schneider passed. There's been a lot of different changes with the team and not just on the ice, the way the game is displayed. Just by going to a game, I mean, everything is different. From all the off-ice stuff, and obviously the mascot Gritty and everything like that. Is that kind of something that obviously the Flyers at this point right now, I think it's pretty safe to say they probably don't have an identity. Is there something that you personally think that they can do to kind of get their identity back?
Bring in some older experienced veterans.
Yeah.
More than one or two. Like when we had, the game has changed, the game is different, and I understand that. But like when I was playing with them, my whole lineup, they were all veterans. Yeah. They all had 10, 12 plus years in the NHL. And like I guess that could be hurt you a little bit. But like if you got that happy balance, like I was young, G was young, Simmer was young, Jakey was young. But then we also had Yager, Pronger, Hartnell, Chemo, and we had a lot of fucking veteran players. It was half and half. And now
Briere,
fucking Danny B, man, like shit. We had Mazzaros, like we had older, strong veteran. We had men.
Coburn,
fucking Kobe, man. Like shit, these guys were workhorses. These guys were grown men with dad strength. And for me, I think they should bring in more veteran status into their lineup. I know the game it's a kid's game right now, and I don't like that. I like grown man's game. I came into the league playing against grown men, 32, 34-year-old guys. And if I know I was young, but if another 22-year-old lined up beside me, I'm like, buddy, I'm going to walk all over you. That was in my mindset.
Right.
No, I think they should add a more of a veteran presence. Mixed in with some youth. You can't. The blind can't lead the blind. You need a veteran presence to lead these young kids into the roles that they want to play. And I think that's sort of. I got a lot to say about the way the league is going, but I think for the Flyers, they should bring in more of a veteran presence. Maybe have 3 to 5 younger kids that are hungry that hang with the veterans, but I think they should establish a more of a veteran experienced lineup organization and go that way.
Yeah. And honestly, just to kind of throw my 2 cents into, like, it seems like there's a lot of guys that they don't necessarily have that play like you did. Like the only guy that I can think of that is an actual like bully on the ice that they had since you played for the Flyers is Rasmus Ristolainen right now. That's it.
And as a Euro, not that Euros aren't tough, but I mean, I've never really watched him play like from a fan or from like on TV, just playing against them. But even playing, didn't really bully anyone that stood out to me. But I haven't watched the Flyers this year. I just kind of read the headlines and I kind of just get the feedback from what the fans are saying. That's how I'm kind of.
Yeah, he's huge. I mean, he's like a bulldozer. I mean, he'll literally run through anything. And he's been able to do that. And I think playing in Buffalo was different. But obviously there's different things there as well. But when you kind of stepping away from your time with the Flyers, when you said you got traded to Boston, and then you were in Arizona for a little bit. When you played in Arizona, that was Rick Tockett's first year as head coach with the Coyotes. What was it like for him, or what was it like for you to play for him? And how was your experience, behind the bench or with him behind the bench? Because one thing that I had noticed when I was looking at some of your stats, your ice time actually went up a good amount from playing under Talk. How was that for you? And did you guys kind of have a good relationship where you were able to get more ice time?
It was fucking 2 peas in a pod, man. we cut from the same cloth, me and him.
Yeah.
Off the ice, on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And I use the analogy with some of my guys here, and he's the type of person that will go through you. He won't go at you. He will go through you. And I think he saw that in me. And I think we had some similarities where we had the same morals as hockey players and how the game should be played.
Right.
And I think he saw that in me. And he just gave me opportunities that a lot of other coaches didn't.
Yeah.
And I did very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole situation with Arizona was unfortunate the way that it ended up. I was supposed to re-sign, and everything was all good, and Talk loved me. Talk was supposed to be there for another 2-3 years, and I was supposed to continue with the contract, but it kind of fell through. But Talk, he played me, man. He used me. He knew how to use me, and him being who he was and his history with Philly and I got to know him as a person, and I want to play for him. He made me want to play for him, not for me, or not really for the team. I wanted to play for him and give my best for him because he believed in me. And when you believe in me, like I said before with Holmgren, like I'll kill for you. I'll do anything. I'll go to the wall.
Was that kind of the first time you had that kind of experience again since being in Philly?
Yeah, I had that same feeling with Lavi.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play for Lavi. I want to do good for him, and Talkit was another prime example.
Yeah, and kind of going off of that, like for you in your game, was it more of like that's kind of how you grew up playing the game, like going out and hitting guys, hitting everything you see, or was that kind of like just like kind of the role that you wanted to play at the same time that you kind of needed to play?
No, that was just, I loved hitting. For instance, you can hit during a game, you can, and not be like penalized for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think contact sports are a great outlet for kids that are going through shit, whatever they go through, and they want to let some aggression out. Go hit someone, go fight someone. Do whatever is going to help you mentally and physically exert that energy, or kind of have you let some steam off and be that outlet. So for me, when I was 8 years old, I was blowing people up ever since I touched the ice. And that was just God's gifted talent. You know what I mean? Or practiced hitting. No one taught me how to do it. I just naturally was gifted that way. And, as the years went on, I just got better, and I got faster, and I got stronger. So the hits were more alarming to people. And I think people saw that, and they kind of put me in this box, unfortunately, because that was not the player I wanted to be. Coming from junior A, I had 40, I think almost like 50 points from junior A. I think 20 something goals and 20 something assists. So but when you get to the O and you are drafted 7th round to the O, and then second last round to the NHL, if you're not putting up numbers, then you got to find a different route. And I think they put me in that box because they saw my physical play and my toughness. So they kind of just said, here, this is what you're going to do. And I wanted to play in the NHL more than anything. So if that's what I needed to do, then I was going to do.
Right, exactly. And if, again, like you said earlier, if you were able to kind of dedicate yourself like you did in that 10-11 year with the Phantoms and lose all that weight, then, I guess that kind of started from the beginning. Kind of going back to your time in Philly, who were some of your favorite guys to play with here? You got any funny stories?
You know what, man? I love playing with Pronger. Yeah. He was just such, I never thought in a million years that I'd be playing with him, watching him kid, this big, mean motherfucker on the ice. I'm like, yeah, this guy's real deal. And then playing with him, and between him and maybe like 2 other guys, not from Philly, could control the room. There's not many captains that can stand up and everyone's going to pay attention to what he's about to say, and everyone will stop what they're doing and listen to the captain. Not too many teams, not too many captains have that presence. His presence was big, and everyone looked up to him, and I looked up to him, and what he said no matter what it was, I was willing to do it. But we were at a baseball game one night in Philly. The whole team was there, and I was a rookie. And remember that thing with the whole like these nuts type of situation? So they made me like catch him off guard and like these nuts in front of everyone. He didn't like that.
The whole team.
Yeah, he didn't like it. And so the next day in practice, I put my helmet on. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, my forehead is burning. It's on fire. And I took my helmet off, and there was this heat rub all in my helmet where my forehead is. So all this, I had this heat rub dripping down into my eyes, and I had to battle through, and I had to practice with this heat rub all in my forehead and all in my eyes. And that was from prongs because I de-nussed them the night before. But just there's a lot of other things, but I keep the locker room stuff inside the locker room. I'm not one to talk about things that happened outside the locker room or in the locker rooms, but that was one of the stories that I can get into. But yeah.
It's funny because it shows kind of how you guys kind of gelled as a team.
I remember Yager. That's when I think it was the Pittsburgh brawl, the one when Danny B got hit. And that's
in April.
That's what sparked the whole.
Yeah, that was like the last couple games of the season.
Yeah. And I was on the bench, and if you remember, I hopped the bench, and I almost fought Asham. And as I have one leg over the bench, and Yager grabs me, and he's like, Zach, he's like, don't do it, don't go, you get suspended. I look at him, and like, there's a scrum over there. We're in Pittsburgh. The whole fucking building is like roasting us because he hated them. And I'm thinking to myself very quickly, I'm like, this is hockey, and there's a little brawl going on. I'm fucking hopping the bench. No way am I not hopping the bench right now. So Yager's like, Zach, no, don't. I said, fuck this. And I hopped, and I don't think he liked that because since I didn't listen to him, he kind of ignored me for a while, and he kind of didn't like that I didn't listen to him. But I kind of disregarded what he said.
That was kind of just your instinct.
Yeah, I was like, fuck this, man. This is fun. Like, this is what it's all about, man. I'm hopping it. I don't, and back then, this is fucking 10 years ago, you could hop the bench and not get suspended.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fuck, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't I do the bench?
Yeah, because Asham, and it's funny you say Asham too, because he ended up hitting Shen after they had that big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, like that series was like back and forth, like big hits, crazy games.
That was amazing. And back then, like it was fucking 20 years ago, but it was only 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago, back then, to throw a big hit, and you didn't have to fight every single time. Like that was a big hit. A clean big hit was respected. It was okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna check you next time. I'm gonna try and do what you did to me. And instead of 5 guys rushing at me because I hit someone clean, and I'm getting a penalty, I'm getting a 5, I'm getting a 10, and then next shift I go, I gotta fight again, and then let us play the game. Let the big hits continue without having to fight every fucking time. That what pisses me off.
Is that kind of what you think the problem is with today's game? There isn't as much of that.
There's a lot wrong with today's game. A lot wrong with today's game. Too many kids. There's too many kids involved. It's not a grown man's game anymore.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Too many kids are involved.
Is there anything you think that the game could maybe change to kind of get back to that? Or do you think there's no way of kind of getting back to it?
No, they want fast.
They
want fast. On youth, they want fast. 2 years, 3 years, out the door. Next one's coming in. 2 years, 3 years, out the door. Next one's coming in. Average length of an NHL career now is like three years. If you're not scoring goals,
if you're not producing offensively,
but you're gone. They don't give a fuck about you no more. And that's why I love Philly, because like they cared about you as a person.
Right.
And invest their time into you as a person and as a player. Get to know you as a person, get to know you as a player, because if you know that person, then you'll know what kind of player he's going to be. But if you don't get to know them on a personal level, you'll never know what kind of player he's going to be,
right.
Ever. And Philly and Arizona and Calgary were the only teams that got to know me as a person. Boom. Now you really know what I'm about as a player now.
Right.
Other teams that I was on, they didn't give a fuck about me as a person.
Right.
Player. And that's why I think they didn't get the best out of me, because they expected me to do different things, but as a person, my persona. So, I just think there's too many one and dones in hockey right now, and they're not investing the time to get to know these kids as a person and as a player. And I think that's where they're going wrong. And I think they're giving captains and assistants out to inexperienced players that never been in that big of a leadership role, and they've never won a cup. They've never even been to the playoffs past the first round, but yet they're a captain and assistant. You can't lead a team to a championship if you've never won it yourself, or you've been in the playoffs, or you've never been past the second round. So I think captains should at least be, 10-year status with a second round, third round finals. That's what it's got to be. You can't give letters and leadership roles to guys that they don't have no experience.
Right. Was that kind of different when you were in Philly with guys like Jake Simmons, guys like Mark Streit? Like, was that different then?
Yeah, it was different. Well, I don't know. For us, it was like, for me, that's how I grew up on. So when I get to Philly, I'm like, fuck, this is how it's supposed to be. This is what it is. And anything else that is not like this is weird. And that's, I saw them. I saw Chemo, and I saw Strider, and I saw Prongs, and I saw Hartnell, and I saw Jakey and Simmer, and how they carried themselves with experience.
Right.
And they spoke through their experiences, and they spoke, they spoke the game the way they've played it, but they had the experience to back it up. If a 24-year-old kid came to me and was telling me to do something just because he's the captain, not because he has experience, but because he has to, because he's the captain.
Right.
He's not credible to me, and I don't like that.
Right.
That's how you steer. Like for who else is the assistant captain in Philly?
Right Coots? Now, Coots, Provorov, Atkinson, or no, excuse me, not Atkinson. Coots, Provorov. I can't even remember. They have so many guys injured.
There's not even like, where's Proby's never been in second round playoffs, has he?
Yeah, in 1920. Yeah, when in the bubble.
How long has he been in the league for?
Since 2016.
Okay. Yeah. Still young though.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like, I know everybody's kind of going at different guys with the team, and obviously everything is spiraled in such a terrible direction from what it was a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
How much, like, if you look at the Drew situation now, do you have any thoughts on it? Like him getting
oh yeah. I got tons of thoughts on that guy, man. Tons of thoughts. That's my guy. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like one of my first friends I met when I was drafted there. I lived with him during camp. He took me under his wing. He showed me what's up.
Yeah. He
showed me what's up. I got I would love to play for that guy again.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that how good he was in the room with you guys?
He leads through
example. Yeah.
He leads through example. He's not much of a talker. He's going to go on the ice and he's going to shut the fuck up and he's going to work. He's going to be the hardest worker.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you still see that now with him. Like,
yeah. And that's just him. That's just him as a person. That's him as a person.
Yeah.
That's him as a person. So, you're going to get him as a player.
Right. And I think that's, I look at the Drew thing now and like, it's March 3rd. I mean,
when's the deadline?
The 21st. So when you look at it, it's like if the deadline and he gets moved before the deadline, which that could happen. It seems to be that bigger deals kind of happen before the deadline, but we'll see. His 1,000th game in his career and as a Flyer would be March 17th against Nashville. It's a home game.
Oh yeah, so he's gonna. If I was him, I'd be waiting it out. I played my 1,000.
Well, that's the thing. As of the reports, he hasn't waived anything yet because he has a full no move, so he has to waive it. So my guess is it's probably not going to get moved until after that game. I mean, right. I got to think that's a huge thing for him, like playing that game, because like the way that I saw G, like at the All-Star game, for how miserable the season's been, and realistically the last 2 years, because I mean they should have been a lot better last year, and this year has just been an absolute dumpster fire. But when you go and you look at the way that he played during that All-Star game and the way he was with his family, like that moment, it had to be so relieving for him for how bad they've been this year. And, you know, and just everything with that, you know, it's so tough because I don't necessarily think people are going to actually realize he's gone till he's gone. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. That's exactly like Mr. Schneider, and exactly the same situation. When I got traded, I was so excited, right? I was so excited when I got traded, but then I got there and I'm like, this is not what I thought this was going to be. Mm-hmm. The grass is not always greener on the other side. Yeah. And I learned the hard way. G taught me, no matter what, I shouldn't say win, no matter how many games you're losing, no matter how bad your team is, you always got to stay positive. G taught me that. And I was actually thinking about it the other day, because if, I don't know, from a fan's perspective, everyone might think that, you know, when you lose, you're mad. The players must be, and they must hold on to that anger, you know, forever until they get another win. And it's not like that at all. But G taught me that. G, I think my first year we lost, I don't know, maybe, 3 or 4 in a row. Mm-hmm. And he come around the room and he kind of saw me like moping around. He's like, what the fuck you doing? I'm like, buddy, we're losing. He's like, put a smile on. Like, we're gonna be okay. Like, we're good. We're good. You have to let it roll off. You can't hold on to that, because that's
like water on a duck's back.
Buddy, just let it go. Fuck, let it go. Like, it's hockey. It's a game. Yes, it sucks to lose. Let it, you know, kind of swish around in your mouth. But as soon as you leave the rink, buddy, cut all the fucking ties off. Mm-hmm. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your family. Enjoy what you're doing as a profession. And then when you get back to the rink, sure, let it fucking piss you off a little more, but don't hold on to it. He taught me, when you do see him out in public, when you do see him at the All-Star games, he's not thinking about that shit. Yeah. He's in the moment, and and that's how he is. And that's what he taught me. And that's how he is as a person, right? You always got to know the players as a person first, and then you can get to the details of the player. But a lot of people aren't like that. A lot of organizations aren't like that. But, you know, if G was miserable, then the team would probably be even more shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
When you're going from a 10-game losing streak, and then the coach gets let go, and then you play a little bit better, and you're kind of winning games just by, you know, the sake of the raw talent you have. Yeah. And then you're kind of going from there to a 13-game losing streak, breaking a franchise record. It's like, you know what I mean?
I know. Some, you know, like everyone goes through it. Like every organization has gone through it. And unfortunately, this is the Flyers' time to go through this. Right. You gotta roll the punches. You can't let it dictate your life. Yeah. At the end of the day, I know some Flyer fans might not want to hear this, but it's just a game. Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've looked at it. Like, everybody on social media is like flipping out at like this game, this certain move. And like, listen, I've been there, you know what I mean? Like, I'm only 18 years old. Like, I've kind of done some of that as well. But like, I try to look at, like, they play tonight, they play in 2 hours. I'm looking at it, I'm like, all right, they won on Saturday, lost the other night on Tuesday. I'm like, all right, you know, I'm trying to find the positives in every game, regardless of the situation.
Yeah,
so that's how I look at it too.
From an organization standpoint, they're looking at the young guys right now. Yeah. What are the
some guys, it's been different though, because some guys they've sent down, and some guys, like, they sent down Isaac Ratcliffe. Morgan Frost has been down. Cam York, who's been one of their better defensemen when he was up here.
Yeah.
And they didn't call them back up. So that's the other thing. It's like some of the, development process is like, it's been a mess. But Zach, is there anything you want to promote yourself? Anything you doing outside of hockey?
I am, but this more focused for like over here in Hamilton. Wouldn't really relate to any of the Flyer Philadelphia crowd. But I don't know, one day I would love to come back. And
that'd be awesome.
One day, I mean,
I saw your tweet saying you want to get the Wells Fargo pumped up.
Buddy, fuck yeah, I would give my left nut to do that. I wouldn't not in the drum. Like I want to go out and fucking, get the crowd going like how I used to. Because I miss that fucking feeling. No, not one arena has ever given me the feeling that Wells Fargo gave me. Yeah. And still that shit still plays in my head and still gives me the chills. But no, one day, I was talking like one day, like it's going to fucking have like 10 years, but like maybe sooner than later, whether I play for the Flyers or I'm in the organization with an alumni situation, or I'm doing stuff inside Philly, but I'd never want to not go back to Philly. I always want to be involved with the team. I always want to be involved with the brand, however they see me fit. So we'll probably reconnect on a personal level in physical form, hopefully sooner than later. So, yeah.
Cool.
You think G's gonna waive his no trade clause and get traded? What are your thoughts on him wanting to be traded if he wants to get traded?
I mean, my thing is, why would he want to stay here? Because I look at it like this, like I understand, like he's at the point in his career where I look at it like he has a legit shot to go win a Stanley Cup, like right now. And depending on what team it's with and where the rumors have gone, there's Colorado, who's been one of the best teams this year. Florida's another one. Carolina, the Rangers, Minnesota. So, and obviously, like, I mean, for any of those teams, you're getting Claude Giroux. So it's like, I look at it like the other thing that you also can put into consideration too, it doesn't happen much, but I look at it like he could get traded and then re-sign here in the off season, which it doesn't happen much. It could happen. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, like not knocking G. I hope he doesn't do that. I hate that. I hate that with sports these days. I hate people jumping ship, going in championship over here, but then go back to your team, or like keep jumping ships just so you win a championship. To me, that's cheating. That's like when you play any video game, you're putting like all the 90 rated players together on one team. You can win the game easily. I don't like that. I hate the way basketball does it. I fucking hate that. You wanna be loyal, stick with your team, go through the trials and tribulations with the team, the wins, the losses, the navigating of different players, man. They stick with your shit. Like I wish I could have stuck with the Flyers till now. I would have loved to go through all that adversity and stuff like that they've been through. That for me, I'm a loyal type of person. Right. But G could also go to a team that's stacked and then lose.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's, I don't know. I mean,
and then the Flyers don't want to re-sign him.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't know him personally like you do, so I'm not too sure. I'm looking at the outsider view.
I can't see. I don't know. That's tough, man. I think about it actually a lot because I see all the Flyer fans tweet about it and TSN and all that shit tweeting about it and stuff like that. I always think
he's
about
up there as like one of the biggest targets at the deadline. Like there's so many different things that can happen.
But I can't see him leaving. It's a very gray area, and only he knows what he's gonna do. Yeah,
and that's why the month is so crazy, because there's so many different things going on. Look, I've said it over and over again. Like nothing's happening until he waives it. So once he waives it, we'll see. So
not even announced that he waived it.
Yeah. But Zach, again, dude, seriously, I can't thank you enough for doing this. This was awesome. Thank you so much. And Flyers fans, thank you for listening. I'm gonna have more of this coming up soon. And Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to get some more of these interviews coming. Obviously, the season's kind of dwindling down and things like that. So stay tuned. I'll have my game review video up tonight, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Thank you.